So in one fell swoop, we have the return of two major names in the industry, Fede Alvarez and Alien. But is it a match made in heaven? Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to give you my spoiler-free review for Alien Romulus. Now, I know I didn't get this out day of release. I normally do that for movies I'm anticipating. I was actually out of town when it came out. I watched it that weekend, and I had to wait till I got back home because I wanted to have, a semi-professional backdrop when I did this review for you guys. It also gave me time to marinate on this movie and gave you guys time to go see it if you weren't able to catch it opening weekend. So as I said, I'm not going to get into spoilers here. I will discuss this later on in the podcast with Christian if you want to hear a deep dive. So for your sake, I'm not really going to get into the plot here. You guys know it's pretty straightforward. These alien movies take place on a space station, most of the time in the middle of outer space, for reasons. Now, this movie takes place between Alien and Aliens. And the first question I had, and a lot of people had, was, is this truly a direct sequel to Alien? The answer to that question is yes, and you will get plenty of information throughout the movie to tell you that is the case. Now, if you guys know me, you know that when I really enjoy the movie, it's hard for me to find cons with it. And this is another one of those movies where I just didn't really have any complaints. So I'll start off with the pros and maybe I'll think of some cons along the way. And first and foremost, Fede Alvarez was the perfect choice to direct an Alien film. Absolutely perfect choice. Look, this movie is very much in the vein of Alien and not so much Aliens. This movie really focuses on the horror. It takes it back to that old school approach. It is very much a slow burn. That's not to say that there isn't sci-fi action and gore galore in this movie, because there are at times. But the movie takes its time getting there, and it makes it all that much more worth it when you do get there. But there are things that Fede does that people just don't do as well as he does these days, aside from maybe Mike Flanagan and James Wan. He really knows how to use the camera to tell the story, to set up a scare. He has perfect touch when it comes to the music cues being placed at the right spot, the lighting, all of it is incredible. The cinematography in this movie is great, and that goes for the visuals as well. I have to say that this movie was made on an $80 million budget, and oh my gosh, it looks like it was made on a $200 million budget. There are beautiful shots of space, planets, systems. It's great. It is absolutely great. All of the CGI, aside from one thing, is essentially flawless. And everything that you see on screen, this movie looks like a huge budget summer action movie. And it goes to show you don't need $250 million to make that happen. Now, as far as the characters we follow, there's a couple that are really just kind of interchangeable. You don't really care. But the two that we're following mainly, Andy, and I believe her name is Rain, you really like them. You like both of them. They have really good chemistry. You buy into their love for one another, and they make a really good team going throughout this movie. There is depth there. There's character development. They have arcs. I loved both of them as the leads in this movie. And as far as the interchangeable characters go, they're really good in their roles. You may not care much for them because they don't get a lot of screen time or they're intentionally just dicks, but they're good in their roles. The acting is great across the board here. The music by Benjamin Wallfisch is just chef's kiss. Look, I was introduced to Benjamin Wallfisch with the It and It Chapter 2 scores, and they really stood out to me. So when I saw his name in the opening credits, I was like, ooh, I'm going to pay attention to the music here. And it's great yet again. And as I said earlier, when it comes to Fede really knowing with the editing and the way he sets up shots, how to set up scares, the music plays a huge role in those scares as well. Now, I didn't jump at all, but there are multiple jump scares that got a lot of people in the theater, but that's not really the point. When there is tension, when there is suspense, when they're building towards something, you feel it. There are multiple moments in this movie that are incredibly tense, and that's a different kind of fear. So yes, I would argue that this movie is scary and induces fear, and I think that is because of the great direction and great music and the great performances. Oh, and the great effects. I could go on and on about those. Now, what everybody's wondering about, because this was heavily talked about regarding this movie, the practical effects throughout this film, specifically with the xenomorphs. And let me just tell you, they're great. Fede is really smart with how he uses the camera when the xenomorphs are on screen. Sometimes you get close-ups of the xenomorphs because we're really focused on the machinations of the mouths, the head movement, and it looks awesome. The colors, there's this shine, this just sleek to them. They're so sleek. I don't even know how else to put it, but they look great. And when you do have these practical, whether they're animatronics or people in suits at times, they look really, really good. And the camera is used effectively to show just enough, but not too much. And that goes for the xenomorphs throughout the entire movie. One thing that some of the Alien movies do, I think wrongly sometimes, is show way too much of the xenomorph to where it gets to a point where it's not really a novelty anymore. It's just kind of there. Oh, there it is again. Alien Romulus goes back to the style of Alien, where, no, it is a novelty when these things come on screen, and it matters. The movie brings a lot of fresh new ideas into a series that's over 40 years old, while also playing on just enough of the right beats that you remember from the previous films that will give you that hit of nostalgia. But unlike some other legacy sequels, I'm happy to say that Alien Romulus does not at all feel like it needs those movies for you to understand or appreciate what's going on here. It very much does its own thing, but it pays homage at perfect times, and I loved that about the film. So from great set pieces to great effects, great acting, a great story, great scares, great music, great action, I can't help but give this movie the highest of recommends. And I feel like as I sit here today, this is the best Alien film since Aliens. And after a couple more watches, it might be the second best Alien film. Now, I am someone that prefers Alien above all the other films. You're either an Alien or an Aliens person. I happen to be an Alien person. And I think that if you're an Alien person, Alien Romulus is going to be right up your alley. But at the end of the day, the best thing about this is that Fede Alvarez brought this franchise back and gave it the juice. His juice. It's big, it's bold, it's haunting, it's memorable, and it is everything you could want from an Alien movie. Oh, and it opened to over $100 million worldwide, which is huge for the Alien franchise. So expect to see more out of this series. So guys, I want to know down below in the comment section what you thought of Alien Romulus. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you not seen it yet? Please discuss down below with me. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.